We're live. Hello, everyone. I'm just setting it up now. Seems to be some difficulty. Can you guys see me? Okay, I'm trying this again. There's always technical difficulties. Can you see me now? All right, so everything's okay. How's everyone doing today? It's a little bit tricky to use the live stream stuff. Okay, yes, I see you. Yes, okay, good, good. And everyone can hear me well? Let's see who's in the room tonight. Layla, Hardeep, hi, Okta, Akib, Ahmad, good. Rosa, Grace, Gary, Prakar, Sushant, Tika, Hector. Hello, everyone. Just lying on the bed. Okay, I'm just setting up a little more here. And I'm going to talk about slang. That's the topic tonight. So if you have slang questions, ask me later. Okay, guys? Tika's lying on the bed. Okay. So, welcome to this live class, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. I'm gonna, as most of you know, I'm Robin Shaw. I'm a Canadian teacher and I teach English. I've been teaching English for 20 years. And the structure of all my live streams, of course, first we're going to start with the introduction. And this is the introduction now. And then, oh, yeah, I'm getting network problem too. Wait a second, I'll have to check. Are you guys still there? Okay. I think it should be better now. I'm getting some network problems on my end. I think I fixed that. Now let's get back to the live stream. Okay, so introduction topic. I'm going to go into the topic soon, and the topic tonight is slang. And then after the topic, as I always do, there's English Q&A. So if you have English questions, great. Or start preparing your English questions. We're going to do that later after the topic. Okay. So, what is slang? Slang, of course, I get questions every day about slang from students. It's difficult, right? It's difficult to understand about slang. It's difficult to learn slang. It's difficult to use slang. But I hope I can help you all with this live stream tonight, because I'm going to talk about many things about slang. Let's get started. So let's focus on the definition first. Slang is always informal, okay? It's a casual form of English. So as you can see in the second point, it is spoken, not written. You don't want to write slang in an essay or a formal letter or email. Okay, slang is only something we should use with our friends. And of course, there's good slang and bad slang, but it is all very casual. And the third point I have is short-lived. Short-lived means slang words always change, okay? It evolves very fast. So slang that is popular this year might not have been popular last year. And certainly slang this year and slang 20 years ago can be very different. So slang is short-lived. There are some slang that last forever, and we'll talk about that. But a lot of slang is usually introduced by young people and used by 1 or 2 generations, and then it disappears. Okay? So the fourth point, when talking about slang, some are universally used. Universally used means everyone uses it. All ages, all genders, all kinds of people use slang. And some slang are used by specific groups. So I have teens. Teens will have their own slang that adults don't use. Doctors, prisoners, all these groups have their own slang that other people don't use. And teachers, sometimes we have our own slang to talk about students that we use. So slang is usually used in groups. Some are used by everyone, but a lot of slang is used by specific groups, especially teenagers or young people. And the next point, each country, region will have their own slang. And I think you guys know that American slang and British slang can be very different. And if you go to Australia, their slang also can be very different. So it depends on the region you are in the world. Slang can be very different. So when you're studying English, you have to be very careful if you're studying slang, because it can change depending on the region. Okay. And the last point I want to talk about slang. Now, is it an uncountable noun or countable noun? So can we say slangs, plural, with an S? Well, I checked online. I researched this before this video. And yes, some dictionaries say you can use slang with an S, slangs. But I'm going to say, I want to teach my students no, that you should use it as an uncountable noun. Okay? So I don't really care about what some dictionaries say. It's better to use slang as an uncountable noun. And I have 3 ways to use slang in a sentence here. And you can see the first one. Please teach me a lot of slang. Okay, uncountable noun. If you want to make it countable, we can add the words or terms. Please teach me a lot of slang words. Please teach me a lot of slang terms. Okay, so this is how I would use slang in a sentence. I use it as an uncountable noun. If I want to make it countable, I use words or terms. Okay, that's the definition of slang. Let's just see if everyone's doing okay. Kim Ho Jun, hello. Kim Hoon, hello. Just Chilmar, slang. And Nurain, hello, Robin Sir. Just call me Robin. Okay. And another common question I get, are slang and idioms the same? Yes and no. Okay. They can be the same because old idioms are kind of old slang. So idioms are like old slang from a long, long time ago, like 100 years ago, that became so common that we call them idioms. But for the most part, idioms and slang are different, okay? And I'm going to talk about that. The first point is usually slang words are new expressions and informal, okay? So slang is always new words. Each new generation makes their own slang. Sometimes they adopt slang from previous generations, but slang is always changing. And the second point there, slang is usually one word, okay? So if it's one word in a sentence, it's slang. And I have an example sentence here. This English video is awesome. Now, awesome is probably one of the top 5 most common slang words. I'm sure everyone here knows it, but that is a slang word, and it is universally used by every group of people. Awesome is a great word. Okay, idioms are old English expressions. Okay, idioms are not new. They have been around for a long, long, long time. So it's very different than slang. And idioms are usually more than one word, okay? So I have an example sentence here. It's raining cats and dogs. Of course, that is an idiom. It's a common idiom. I don't use it too much, but usually when English teachers are teaching idioms, we like to use this one because that's a fun one. So you could see awesome, one word, idiom, a collection of words to make the expression. I'm not going to talk about idioms in this video, but of course in a future video I will talk about idioms. But tonight, just slang. Okay, another question. How can I understand slang? Well, I have context plus exposure. So context means you really have to know the situation you are in. And when you understand the situation you are in and someone is using slang, you have a context. It's in the situation. So it's easier to understand in the context. And exposure. So when you're learning slang, exposure means you hear it many times. You start to hear it many times, and then you'll start to understand. Your brain is very smart. When it starts hearing slang in certain situations, it will find the pattern or when to use that slang word. So context and exposure is really important to understanding slang. And I have an example sentence here, or sentences, dialogue, A, B, and C. Person A says, I bought a new watch. It cost $900. And then person B, that's a ripoff. Okay, so of course the orange is slang. That's a ripoff. So what does ripoff mean? Feel free to write the answer in the comments if you're logged in. What does ripoff mean? Okay, Grace, thank you. Expensive. It means expensive. So ripoff is common slang for something that is expensive plus kind of cheating me. Okay, so it kind of means I paid more money than I should have. So it's too expensive and I'm kind of cheated. So that's usually what the meaning of ripoff is. So we have a context here. Someone paid money for the watch. We're talking about money. Someone says ripoff. So every time, well, we usually use ripoff when talking about money. So your brain is smart. Every situation we're talking about money and someone is saying ripoff, you're going to connect it with something about money. And C, yes, I think you got ripped off. Okay, so this is exposure. You're hearing it twice, okay? In one conversation, you're hearing it twice, but exposure means like maybe a week later, you hear it again, and maybe a month later, you hear it again. That kind of exposure, your brain will start to learn and know what that slang word is. Okay? And you can see in both cases, yeah, the B and C decided that A got ripped off, cheated. A paid too much for the watch. All right, let's see what's happening in the chat room. Ifra Jan, hello Robin, your voice is so sweet. Nobody has ever said my voice is sweet. I don't think my voice is sweet. And Layla, I'm so happy to join you in this live stream. Okay. Grace Lim, ripoff can be placed at noun position. Yes, ripoff can also be a noun. Slang is very flexible in English. It can be verb or noun. Not all slang, but in this case with ripoff, it can be a verb and a noun. So good question. All right, my next point there, don't study lists of slang. I have some students, they're studying slang words, and they might have an example sentence like I'm doing now. This is not a good way to study slang because context, the situation is always important to know. Not just, you're not just listening to you're not listening to what someone says, but you're also listening to how someone says it. So you can see B up above, that's a ripoff. You know, intonation is also very important to slang and how we say it. So context is always important. Studying lists of slang, you don't really get the feeling of how to use that slang, if it's negative or positive. So context is always essential. So where do you get context? Well, my next point, you have to watch English movies, TV shows, YouTube videos. This is where you're going to see slang, okay? This is where you're going to see the actors using slang, how they say it. This is where to learn slang, not from a textbook. Also, read books, short stories, or comic books. Again, you're going to see the slang, you're going to learn the slang very quickly if you're interested in watching movies or reading books. And slang, because it's new words, a lot of these words are not in the regular dictionary or the normal dictionary. My advice is if you think you found a slang word, go to urbandictionary.com. This is where I go to find out about new slang. So urbandictionary.com, that's where you're going to find if you type in a slang word, it doesn't give a definition of the slang word. It gives you people's comments of what they think that slang word means, or they'll explain what that slang word means. Okay? So urbandictionary.com. That's the best place to learn or to check slang words. Okay, let's move on. I was talking earlier about outdated slang, and I have Groovy. Groovy used to be in the 1950s, 1960s in America. I don't know about England, maybe. This used to be very common slang, and this music is groovy. What do you think groovy means? Anyone? Groovy, groovy, groovy. Kim, Gore. This music is groovy. Do you think it's positive or negative? Hey, Thomas. Clark, English vampire, yes. Grace, tender, sweet. Groovy was actually, I don't use it, but it was similar to cool. It's a positive slang. This music is groovy. This music is good. This music is cool. It's a nice sound. So groovy. So this is old slang. We don't want to use it now because the next generations stopped using that slang. Another one, bummer. I got a C on my test. What a bummer. What do you think bummer means? What a bummer. What do you think that means? What a bummer. I'm looking. Yeah, Carrie Page, disappointing. Yeah. So bummer is something bad. Oh, we used to say, what a bummer. Again, this slang is not so common these days. It's negative. Yeah, you're disappointed, just as Carrie said. Oh, what a bummer. Okay, so again, this is outdated. This was more common like the 50s, 60s, maybe 70s, but these days we don't, not many, some old people might use this slang, but the young people, probably not. All right, evolving slang and multiple meanings. So this is interesting. I saw about the slang word busted. And I have 3 sentences here, and it's one slang word, but it has 3 different meanings. So the first sentence, my radio is busted. What does that meaning mean? Incheon Mayor, you're jumping to number 2. Yeah, broken. So my radio is busted. Broken. I have a radio, it's busted. It's broken. It's negative. The second sentence, the student got busted for cheating on his test. What does that busted mean? The student got busted for cheating on his test. The student got busted for cheating on his test. This is not broken. Yeah. Be catched. Well, the past tense of catch is caught. So yeah, the student was caught. So the teacher caught the student cheating on his test. So my radio is busted, which means broken. The student got busted for cheating on his test means the student got caught for cheating on his test. So the slang word busted, 2 different meanings. And then we have a new slang. This is a more modern slang. Your sister is busted. What do you think that means? Your sister is busted. Sexy or hot? No. Try again. Throw up? Pretty ugly? Oh, Kim Hoon. You're right. It's new slang to mean ugly. Your sister is ugly. All right, so you saw just the word busted, over time, it's getting different. The meaning of the word busted as slang changes. So it was broken, and then caught, and then ugly. Okay, so you got to be very careful with slang. It can have many meanings. And about many meanings, just talking about money, there's hundreds of slang words for money. Now, I'm not going to teach all the slang words for money. I have a list here of slang words for money. You can go check them. But yeah, there's so much slang in English, especially for things like money that we use every day. There's going to be all kinds of slang. And I'm sure in your language, there's a lot of slang for money. Do you have to know all the slang? No, you don't have to know all the slang. You just have to know the common ones that you hear people using in TV, movies, or you're reading in books, okay? Don't study all the slang unless you hear it in context. There's also some mixed words these days. I don't use them. I hear them, but they're starting to get popular. The first one, frenemy. Friend plus enemy. She's my frenemy. So that's a new word. What does it mean? Well, if you go to the Urban Dictionary, it has different meanings depending on the person. But basically, of course, it means someone is your friend, but in some ways, they're also your enemy. So they're not 100% a friend. So maybe sometimes they say bad things about you. You don't know. So that's your frenemy, friend and enemy. Another one is bromance. So that's a combination of brother and romance. You guys have a serious bromance. So that's when two guys are very, very close friends, but not in a sexual way, not in a gay way or homosexual way. They're just really close guy friends, but they're just friends. But people might comment, oh, you guys are too close. You have a bromance. Doesn't mean they're gay. Doesn't mean they're gay. Hangry. Hungry and angry. Yeah. I don't use these words. Chillax. Chill plus relax. So chill is take it easy, relax. Person A, I have so much stress these days. Person B, you need to chillax. So chill and relax kind of mean the same thing. I don't know why they brought that together, chillax. So in English, this is a new trend. Lots of words are starting to be made like that. I thought I would mention that in case you hear that. I don't use these. Maybe I'm too old, I don't know, but I've heard those in songs and TV shows and whatnot. Yeah, chill is like chill out. Tika, too complicated for me. Well, the hard stuff is over, Tika. Now we're just talking about simple slang. Here is a list of 6 examples of modern slang. I say modern slang because these are made in the last probably 10 to 20 years. These are new slang words. I don't use them because it's the generation after me. MD Ruman, there's no such thing as something for nothing. Ask questions later. I'll have the Q&A later, Ruman. So number 1, hey bae, you're the best. So bae is a new slang. word. Before, it means before anyone else. So you want to say that to someone you really, really love. So it can be your boyfriend, girlfriend, or just a very, very close friend, your best friend forever. Sometimes they use bae. I hear it, but because it's the new generation, not my generation, I don't use it, but I do hear it. Number 2, I earned some major coin during the summer. What do you think coin means? That should be use it. Oh, prakar, you use bae or coin. I earned some major coin during the summer. What is coin, guys? Scholarship? Nope. So the key word there is earn. What do you earn? Prakar bae. Money, yes. So of course coin is slang for money. Money, money. I earned some major coin this summer. Number 3, this party is lit. What is lit? What does lit mean? Yeah, lit is great. It's very good, very exciting. It's very happening party. It's very lit. 4, I'm a bit salty because I lost the computer game. And I can see Okta. What is salty? Oh, I'm a bit salty. I'm a bit salty. You can see it's a negative slang word. Upset, yep. So salty, I'm hearing that more and more these days for upset. Not sad, you're just kind of a little bit upset. 5. Number 5. All woke people vote. That's an example sentence that I found of the slang word woke. It is a slang word that I don't use, but I hear more and more these days. What is woke? Stupid? No. All stupid people vote. When you vote for president, are they stupid? No. Carrie Page, woke, politically correct people. Yeah, that's kind of what woke means. Woke means people who are more aware of issues about social justice. So women's rights, Black Lives Matter, these kind of social justice movements, and people that are more aware of them and understand them, we say are woke. Woke means they're kind of woken up, they're aware. Okay, so that one's a little difficult. Not intelligent, just more they're aware of the latest news about social issues. Is there a real word to replace instead of woke? No, because you would say aware of social issues. So people aware of social issues. There's not one word that can replace woke. All right, and number 6. This video is sick. What is sick? Is that positive or negative? Yes, Carrie is correct again, because Carrie is checking Urban Dictionary. I don't know. So number 6 can be confusing because the word sick we usually use for people and animals. Sick. But I'm describing this video is sick. So sick is usually a negative word, but when it is slang, it is a positive word. So it means cool or awesome. It's really good. This video is really good. This video is sick. Yeah, it can be fun. It's a positive word. So you can see slang can be confusing. You see a negative word like sick, but actually the slang is opposite. It's something really good. No, it's not bored, Layla. You're bored? I heard Americans said nobody use it anymore. Not true. I made this list in the past 2 weeks of stuff I heard in videos. So again, slang is regional. So in some parts of America, they probably don't use it anymore. So other parts of America, they still use it. And again, all of this slang is, it's not used in all over the world. It's usually used in certain regions. I just brought a few examples of modern slang. You don't need to know these examples unless you hear them. You heard them now from me. If you hear them again, okay, you should know them. But if you never hear them again, don't worry about them. Okay. I have a few more examples to work with you. Person A, I think Korean food, oh, I made a mistake, is not delicious. That should be is. And person B, hey, don't knock it until you try it. What does knock mean? Oh, Rosa, why don't you read my answers? Sorry, Rosa. Don't knock it until you try it. So knock will be, complain or criticize. Don't knock it until you try it. Don't complain or criticize it until you try it. Yes, that. Slang example 2. What's your beef with me? I have no beef with you. What is beef? What's your beef? Yeah, some sort of problem. So beef normally is, meat, food. But in the slang context, what's your beef with me, which is common these days, you'll hear it, which means, yes, someone has some conflict with you or some problem with you. So you would be asking, what's your problem with me? And I have no problem with you. So that's beef. Yeah, Rosa, problem. All right, number 3 here is British slang. I'm not British, but I know this slang. There's two slang words there. Can I bum a fag? Sure. Well, there's 2 slang words. What's bum? What's fag? Take, hi Robin, I'm here. I can't say your name. You hit your head. Thank you. Can I bum a fag? British slang. In American slang, it's very different. I'm not going to talk about American slang, but British slang is clean. Anyone visit England here? What's bum a fag? Not hit your head. I think you're thinking of bumped, not bumped. Coffee on the wall. All right, so fag is related to dope. No. Fag is prakar, no. So bum means, yeah, can I kind of get for free? Can you help me get this for free? Give it to me. And a fag, of course, is common British slang for cigarette. So this person is asking for a cigarette for free. So they're walking on the street, someone's smoking, and the other person, hey, can I bum a fag? That's not a British accent. Can I bum a fag? Yeah. Can I get the cigarette for free? And the person B says yes. And I have another British slang here. What's wrong? I'm gagging for a cuppa. So we have two slang, gagging and cuppa. Ki-hoon put hot tea, yes. So gagging means you really, really want something or desire that food in British slang. And the cuppa is, yeah, Kim Hoon knows. It's very small writing. Kim Hoon knows cup of hot tea. So cuppa is short for cup of hot tea. Cup of hot tea. So someone really, really wants the cup of hot tea. All right, I have a couple more. Slang example number 5. I got 4 slang words here. One of them, you know. And it's, native speakers can understand this sentence. But for new students, this would be very difficult. And I know it's going to be very difficult for almost all of you. So the sentence says, the Fuzz busted that ripped kid who stole those wheels. What is that talking about? Well, I'm going to type it out here. Fuzz is slang for police. Busted, we learned before, yeah, caught. It's past tense. Present tense catch. Past tense caught. Kim Hoon, the popo. That's slang for police also. What about ripped? Yeah, wheels is cars. That's right. That's slang for cars. And ripped means someone has a lot of muscles. So there's a kid, he's ripped. He has a lot of muscles. So the police caught that kid who has a lot of muscles who stole those wheels. So the car, he stole the car. Yeah, so slang, wow, you really, again, all of these slang words are common. Probably Fuzz is my generation or a little bit older. These days, they might use what Kim Hoon said, popo. All right. And I have one more. British slang. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this British slang. Bloody British English is bloody confusing. Bloody hell. Why do they have so much bloody slang? Bloody British English is bloody confusing. Sorry. Bloody hell. Why do they have so much bloody slang? What is bloody? A lot of, very, rash, example 6, yeah. So, British slang, they like to use the word bloody. Bloody is like very. It is an intensifier. So they want to emphasize the word after bloody. So bloody British English is bloody confusing. So yeah, for bloody confusing, that's similar to very confusing in a kind of negative way. Bloody hell is kind of a complaint. They don't like something. Bloody hell. Why do they have so much bloody slang? So bloody in this case is always a little negative to show negativity to these words. So if you go to, I don't use bloody because I'm not British, but if you go to England or you watch British movies, and I think they even say it in Harry Potter, they use bloody. It is kind of a bad word. It's not too bad, but it is kind of a negative word. So use it only with your friends. Don't use it in a formal situation. Don't use it at a job interview. Oh, the bloody air conditioner. No, 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 no. Well, Grace, as like I'm effing hungry, effing is stronger. Bloody is not as strong. And like I say, I don't use it. Andre, are bloody and blood cognate words? Oh, yeah, they probably come from the same. I don't know where they come from, but they come from the same roots, I'm sure. Pirates of the Caribbean movie had used this slang, yeah. I don't use it, but you're going to hear it. That's very common in British slang. All right. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about slang. You guys can talk a little bit. What's your favorite slang word? Does any slang confuse you? Do you borrow any English slang and use it in your language? So if you have something to say about slang, now is the time to talk about slang. Carrie Page, what does snowflake mean? Yeah, that's new slang. A snowflake is a very weak person, very sensitive person. So older people call the younger generation like snowflakes. They're very weak. They didn't have a hard time in their life. Kim Hoon, F the popo. Yes, I guess popo is your favorite slang. F. Carrie, are you a snowflake? Yeah, what does groove mean? I like the groove of your walk. So groove can be like style, the way. And I think there's some famous movie with groove in the title. I can't think of it right now. Yeah, I have a beef. I have a problem. That's right, Kim Kim. Carrie Page. Oh. Are you serious, Carrie Page? What does Netflix and chill mean? I don't know. Check Urban Dictionary. Babe. That's the same as bae. Bae and babe. Groove, Armada. Well, groove is kind of cool, a cool way. So, groove is like a noun, and if you want to use it as adjective, it's kind of groovy. And again, that's a little bit older slang. Green means money. Yeah, it can mean money. Show me some green, because American money is green. Ching. I don't know. Dollars are green. Yeah. Groovy equals sick. Yeah, that's a really good question. They're similar. They're positive words to say something is good, but they're a little bit different. People who say groovy are like, this is groovy. And people who say sick are like, this is sick. So how they say these words and how they want to express are a little different. All right, I'm going to move on to the question period. You can ask any English question about slang or something else not about English questions. And I have the rules here. Try to check your spelling in your question. Check your punctuation in your question. No complex grammar questions. If you have a very complicated grammar question, it's better to ask me in my Facebook group, Learn English with Robin Teacher. If you have a complex question, it's better to ask the grammar question in that group. And no questions easy to find an answer in the dictionary or YouTube. So don't ask me too easy questions that you can find in the dictionary in 2 seconds or YouTube 2 seconds. Try to get questions that you have trouble finding the answer to. And let's see, what's the difference between brave and guts? Guts would be a slang word for someone who's brave. So you would say, brave is an adjective, guts is the noun. So he is brave as an adjective. He has a lot of guts. That would be the noun, which means he is very brave. Layla, I have difficulty understanding slang when speaking. Yeah, slang's difficult. It takes a lot of time to learn slang. Yeah, I know. When I work with, sometimes I'm working with teachers from Australia. There might be 2 teachers from Australia, and they're talking to each other in English, but using Australian slang, it can be very difficult for me to understand them, and they're speaking English. Rosa, what is the difference between hear and listen? Well, they're very similar, you know that. I'm trying to think of all the cases we use here and all the cases we use listen. I can't think of all the cases right now. But generally we use listen to. I listen to music. All right? I listen to my teacher. And here I hear music. We usually wouldn't use hear with music. I hear, well, oh, that's a difficult question. We can say I hear music. I'm going to say that's too difficult to explain right now. That's a very complicated question. Ask me again in the WhatsApp group or the Facebook group, Rosa. Sorry, that's a really good question, but it's hard for me to teach that right now. Carrie Page, how to pronounce can't and can. Now, can't and can, depending on the region in the world. Like if you go to Australia, New Zealand, England, America, Canada, they're going to have slight differences in how they pronounce can't and can. Now I'm going to teach you how I pronounce it, and I teach my students my way, because the way I pronounce it is the best way, of course. Just kidding. When you say, well, let's start with can. All right, so with can, I usually teach my students who have difficulties with pronouncing these, I usually teach them to say can. Can. Like Ken, the name Ken. Now, that is not the exact pronunciation. Again, it's going to be different depending on the region, but if you're having trouble, people are not understanding you, then you should use can. I can. And then people will understand you better. For can't, again, different regions of the world, that T is strong and sometimes it's weak. But for you, make sure you have, well, let's just focus on the word ant. Ant. And now add the K sound. Can't. I can. I can't. All right, that is not exactly how we say it, but if you say I can and I can't, everyone will understand you and not be confused. So it depends on the region you're in and how they say can and can't. But my advice to all my students here, you want to be clear. And it's very clear when you say I can do it, I can't do it. Ant. And it sounds like can't. I can, I can't. All right, let's see. Going down the list. Kasam, hi Robin. What's the meaning of darndest? Good question. Did you check the dictionary? I have to check it for you. What does it say? Darn. Dest. I'll go to Urban Dictionary. Darndest, number 1. Most infuriating. Number 2, the greatest complexity. I don't use the word darndest, so I have to check the Urban Dictionary. And I suggest if you want examples of how to use it, check the Urban Dictionary. Where did you hear that, Okta? Kasan, how are you? I'm doing well. Andre, hear sounds and listen to music. Yeah, that's a simpler way. But it doesn't, there are exceptions. That's Grace, when I watch American drama, I can see ain't a lot. It can be plural and singular be verb. And if I use ain't in common conversation, do I look weird? Well, Grace, I'm going to tell you right now, and all my students, listen carefully. Never use the word ain't. Don't use it, okay? Ain't is, it is a word in America. It's very common, but it's not a word you should be using. Now, I'm going to tell you why, because ain't is, people who say ain't are usually judged as less educated, lower class, okay? So if you were at a job interview and you used ain't, the person interviewing you might judge your English as lower class, not so good. Your English is not so good. So ain't, as a teacher, as an English teacher, don't use that. Of course, you should understand what it means, but using it yourself, no, don't use it. So Grace, don't use ain't. Kasan, I have slang like smoke gun. I don't understand that slang, smoke gun. What do you mean? Mandy Lim, I hear birds singing when I am walking in the park. Yeah, that's an example of hear. You hear the sound or you hear the noise. But you could also say, I listen to birds singing when I am walking in the park. It's a little different, but you can use hear or listen to in that sentence. I think we listen with our heart, but we hear with our ears. That is the perfect explanation. Thank you. I think hear and listen to are like see and watch. You got to be careful, Andre, because the rules for see and watch and listen and hear are going to be very different. Okay, they're similar, and then the words are very similar, but the rules are very different on when to use see and watch and when to use listen and hear. But for now, we'll follow your explanation of we hear noises and sounds, but we listen to music. How do you say it? I don't know how to say what. Robin Dictionary. What do you mean dictionary? What's your question? I don't understand your question. Okta, I found the darndest word from YouTube video title, but the word doesn't exist in dictionary. Yeah, you have to check urbandictionary.com. I hope I spelled that correctly. I would say darndest is close to strange and a combination of like strange and crazy. Something strange and crazy or unique. Any other questions? We've gone over 1 hour now, so in the next few minutes I'm going to close the chat, so get any final. Tika, dope, yeah, savage, yeah, these are new slang words. I don't use them, but I know them. Dope, something really good. Savage, something really great. Savage has many slang meanings, and so does dope. Dope has many slang meanings too. All right. Any last questions before I stop the stream? Urban Dictionary, not Robin Dictionary. I don't have a dictionary. Urban Dictionary to check slang words. Okay. Layla, I asked my friend to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, don't. If your friend wants to learn English, subscribe to the channel. This streaming is sick. Thank you, Kim Hoon. Thank you, Robin. From Tika, Grace. Could you recommend a good dictionary app? I don't use dictionary apps. Perhaps another student can recommend a good dictionary app. That's a good question to ask in the WhatsApp group, because those guys know a lot of good dictionaries. Andre, can you recommend any fiction book with vocabulary for speaking? Andre, I don't know your level, but you should find a book that is your level. Okay, don't get a book that is the level is too high. Find a book that is easy for you to read. I don't know your level, but maybe start with some teenage level books. If those are too easy, go one little bit level higher. Okay, Okta, thanks for your advice. All right, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for watching. To keep in contact with me, you can see on the side I have my Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and down below I have other links in order to get in touch with me and talk to me about English. So thanks a lot, everyone. And I guess I'll see you. I'll do another live stream maybe tomorrow. I don't know yet. We'll see. Anyway, thank you, everyone. And I hope you learned something today. See you next time.